Thank you, Rob. All right. Welcome back, councillors. Thank you very much. We are at a point where we've put a resolution, the vote is tied. In conversation, I'm now in a position where I am able to put the vote again. And that is on the recommendation number 2. And so I'm going to put that motion again. That council resolves to establish a Māori ward to apply 2025-2028 local body elections. And I'll take Councillor Cherry Campbell as the mover and Councillor Newman as the seconder. And I am putting the vote. All those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
And 3, and all those against. 5. The motion on that is lost, and I want you to record my abstention. I don't see this as an end, to be quite frank. And I think I've always said that Māori representation is an issue that needs to be discussed and debated at a wider level. And the contributions that iwi have made at this table have been significant. I think that the fact that not just this table and the working groups and in the committees, and I want it recognised that Carterton does more in those spaces than other councils far larger than it. I think in the wider discussion where we need to talk about rural wards as well, because of the level of feedback we've had that rural people are now starting to find themselves feeling themselves disenfranchised from this table. That discussion has to be had along with the conversation around whether we stay with fixed first past the post or we move to STV. And some of us who believe that STV will deliver a far more representative council than has been the past under FPP, will stand to be judged on that if we do move down that path. This is not the end of the discussion. This is the start of new timing, and I'd like to think we can get that sorted by 2025. Councillor Cherry Campbell.
So going back to the recommendations, that number 2 that passed.
Yeah.
Does that mean that we're now going to recommendation 3?
We no longer need to.
It's an or.
It's an or. It's an or.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tēnei iau Wairarapa e ngunguru nei iau. Aueha! Tangi katoa ngā matua ngā tūpuna tēnei whare rungi a tātou katoa i tēnei rangi e. Tangi katoa tēnei hanga whakapapaki tēnei o ngā whenua Wairarapa. Tēnei iau e karanga tuki a koutou katoa e noho nei rotu i tō kuaretanga. Kuare, kaupapa katoa.
I have a translation for that recorded into the minutes, if that's possible, please. Thank you, kia ora, Jill. Thank you for being here. And
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you at the table when you can make it, as you're duly appointed.
Give me a call. We never get your video.
I feel to that. Yeah, hi. Kia ora.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
7.2, approval of the CDC speed management plan. Excuse me while I say it well. Uh, 7.2 approval of CDC management plan. Are there any wait till I think Jeff Johannes
able to join us now for the speed management plan.
Just for point of order before we proceed, Robin, if you could have our people interpret that and put that into the minutes as well, please, or I'd at least like a note of that interpretation, because I think I did understand bits of it, and I think it might well have been outside of standing orders. Johannes.
Sure. Thank you, Your Worship, and councillors. The report is endorsement of the speed management plan. As you know, it's been quite a journey to get to this point. We've developed the draft plan. We then went out for consultation. We received quite a number of submissions for and against portions of the plan. We then had public hearings. Before we had the deliberation, following the hearings, all of the hearings committee members and other elected members went out to the roads to see the proposed changes and what's being recommended. And then we had the deliberations, and the hearings committee then endorsed the proposals as per the report in front of you. And with that, I take the report as read and open for questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Councillor Cretney, please.
Thanks, Johannes. Just the changes in signage and additional signage, have we got any figures around that yet?
Councillor, no, we don't have cost figures.
Yeah, for all the changes of signage and new signage that will be required. And the reason I'm asking is if there's a potential revoking for all this, I'd hate to see council being confronted with a large bill in the near future.
So there's probably two questions in there. The first one, we haven't costed up the job for changing the signage, the signs on the affected roads. Secondly, the revocation, it's my understanding of the potential new policies is that it wouldn't affect what you're proposing to do. We're not proposing any blanket changes to our network, but rather responding to the consultation, the feedback that we've received.
Any other questions?
Councillor. Thank you, Mayor Ron. So further to that, to Steve's question, if the state highway speeds do revoke back up to 100 k's, is it our understanding that all our feeder roads that we will still remain at 80?
Remain at a safe and appropriate speeds. Yes. So the consideration of the state highway was just one consideration. The safe and appropriate speeds were another consideration. So it would still be safer at the proposed speeds.
Councillor Ayling.
Thank you. My only question was with regards to revoking our that bylaw. I'm wondering if we have any indication around
The next paper.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll bring it back later.
Okay. I read all that and went, what? Any other questions? Are we able to deliberate? Moving there now. The first recommendation, the council will receive the report. Someone to move. Second, please. Councillor Cretney, Councillor Lawrence, all in favour?
Aye.
Against? Motion's carried. Second, endorses priority 1, reducing speed limits around schools and early childhood centres. Someone to move, please. Councillor Dallas, seconded by Councillor Gallen. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Motion's carried. Endorses priority 2, reducing speed limits around Marae. Councillor Terry Campbell, seconded by Councillor Cretney. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Endorses priority 3 as per revisions in the report as stated. We've all read them. We're comfortable. Someone to move, please. Councillor Ayling, seconded by Councillor Gallen. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Endorses priority 4 roads identified by the community. Councillor Della, seconded. Councillor Lawrence, thank you. All in favour? Against? Motion's carried. Endorses priority 5, reducing gravel roads to 80 kilometres an hour.
You should recommend that one.
Oh, we should that. Councillor Cretney, seconded. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried.
Creating a conflict.
Conflict of interest.
I live on a gravel road.
Yeah, that's right. All in favour. Approves the recommendation 7, approves the Carterton District Council Speed Management Plan with the amendments as noted above. Someone to move, please. Councillor, the Deputy Mayor, second Councillor Gallen. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Motion's carried.
Your Worship, can I just, and now that that's completed, just thank Johannes and his team
Yeah.
for all of the work that went into this, the collaboration with Kotahi and the other councils, north and south, and also for taking the time to drive us around, make sure we could ground truth everything and feeding into the process. I felt that was a really good outcome for the amount of work that went into it and reflected by the number of submissions. So thank you. Very good.
Yeah. So says all this. Moving forward. 7.2. 7.3, revocation of the Wairarapa Consolidated Bylaw of 2019, Part 2, speed. Johannes.
Thank you, Your Worship. We have a consolidated Wairarapa consolidated bylaw that encompasses a number of bylaws. The speed and the setting of speed is just one of that. The new speed rule replaces that, but it doesn't automatically revoke the bylaw. So it's really it's just a formality to revoke it because the new rule is in place. The other two Wairarapa councils has already revoked the bylaw, and it's now just waiting for us to finalise that. And with that, I think the report is read and open to questions.
Here we go.
You knew I was coming. Yeah, and so my question was just with regards to revoking the bylaw. In the back of my mind is the fact that we are currently in this period between a new government being established and they have quite different priorities from what they've campaigned on with regards to our roading. I'm wondering if this bylaw that we're needing to revoke to tick the boxes of the last government is actually still relevant with an incoming government, and if that's been taken into account.
I'm happy to answer it, but I'll let Johannes go first and then
Tag team.
Tidy up the screen.
I'll tidy up.
Because it's such so the principle of the new rule is aims to get consistency across regions and across the country, and the previous rule allowed for councils to have different standards in the how they treat different scenarios. So the new rule aims to get consistency across the board. I understand that there's some parts of what's happened with speed that would be probably reviewed and adjusted. However, I would struggle to see that they would change something as fundamental, as operational as that drives really good outcomes. And therefore, I don't see that this would necessarily be impacted by a change in government.
If I may add, so the mechanism that Wakakotahi NZTA have in order to enforce the speed and on state highways and also on local road controlling authorities has changed. So the mechanism used to be passed via councils via a bylaw, and that mechanism is now in legislation and charged in legislation, which is the rule that Johannes speaks about.
Yeah.
So that mechanism is unlikely to go back to allowing TAs to pass bylaws. The piece that may change is referred to as the GPS or the government policy statement. That GPS informs Wakakotahi borders to the government's priorities. And previously, those priorities have been involved in reducing deaths on roads and reducing climate emissions, which has resulted in reducing speed limits. the government can change the GPS without changing the mechanism to enforce the GPS, which is the new rule that Johannes is talking about. So the mechanism had changed. Our bylaw is unlikely to be ever needed again, and even if the GPS does change, it's unlikely we'll need to go back to using a bylaw to enforce speeds on local roads.
That's why he's in the sea.
Well, good. What happens if we don't revoke it?
It will stay on the books forever, like old legislation that is irrelevant.
Like the red flags that you used to have to wave in front of the cars that were coming down the streets of Carterton. There was a
I remember that well.
stayed on the books for over 100 years. I understand. Ready to deliberate. Okay, recommendation that the council receive the report. Someone to move, please. Councillor Cherry Campbell, seconded by Councillor Cretney. All in favour?
Aye.
Yes. Motion's carried. Revokes the results to revoke the Wairarapa consolidated bylaw words to the effect. Someone to move, please. Councillor Cretney, Councillor Gallen, all in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes. Motion's carried, and resolves to make minor amendments to the other parts of the Wairarapa Consolidated Bylaw 2019 to reflect as those words read. Someone to move, please. Councillor Cherry Campbell, seconded by Councillor Della. Did you? Oh, you.
Scratching my face.
Fair enough, you're cool.
All in favour?
Aye.
I didn't buy it.
Yes. Motion's carried. Thank you.
Well,
7.4 water services.
No, I'll do. I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to do that. Got it. So a brief update on water services reform. As the report mentions, the interesting update is the chief executives for the existing water services entities in B, C and D have been disestablished. Entity A, which is Auckland and Northland, is out of the gates and on the track, so they will remain at this stage. Other than that, the feedback that we have is the NTU is essentially waiting for the incoming government to give a briefing, and then they will determine what the next steps are, but they are proceeding on as planned, noting that there's this period we have right now where clarity is not something that is available, so they are working at a slow pace.
Level of clarity is unclear.
I apologise. Yes, that's my language is not.
Someone move that receive the report. Councillor Della, seconded. Got to be someone. Councillor Aileen, all in favour?
Aye.
Yes, motion's carried. Thank you very much, Chair. 7.5, reporting on non-financial performance. Quarter 1, 24. Kelly, thank you.
As an introduction, this report to us to avoid the non-financial performance metrics turning up in the annual report once a year. Proposed to bring them to council quarterly. Some of the metrics are only measured annually at our customer survey, whereas others of the metrics are able to be determined on a much more. Kelly's happy to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're off nicely, so it's a good question.
Any questions on it? Councillor Aileen.
Thanks, Kelly. Page 72, one of the figures I wanted to pull out was the response to customers across all activities requesting knowledge within 1 day. Target was 100%. We've hit 42%. I'm wondering why that was. Is it just because of the quantity of inquiries that were coming in, or is it particularly tricky ones?
I think it's probably a combination of things. I mean, one business day is quite tight. As soon as somebody, a key person in the process is away sick, that can kind of fall down. Another part to it, I guess, is making sure that we are recording the data correctly, accurately at the time. So as soon as you forget to fill in that field, when you've responded to someone, we're recording that as not compliant. So we are continuing to do work around our service requests and looking at how the team works, and particularly the backups for when people are away to help kind of manage those gaps. Yeah, that is something we want to improve on. Don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, Johannes. It may be, sorry, we don't want me adding, it may be something as well to consider as you look at the framework for the LTP, and whether I suppose 1 day is a good target, or 100% of people within 1 day as well.
And is that acknowledgement a personalised email, phone call? It's not a bounce back situation, it's something targeted to them.
Yeah, we can do a bounce back email, particularly when people submit through the website, but we don't count that as going back to them. It's more about letting them know it's been picked up and that it has been passed on to whichever team to deal with, a bit more of that personalised information.
If I can add, in some cases, it's not councils. It's not a service request we would accept. So it may be a Greater Wellington Regional Council issue. It may be a private property owner issue. So that acknowledgement is more about the, yes, we've got, it is something for us to deal with.
Right. Yeah.
Because it wasn't any good last year either, was it?
Our result, no.
46 to 42, so it's fundamentally the same.
That's right.
We've got work to do.
Change the measure.
It does,
Change the rules.
Yeah, thanks.
it does come back to levels of service as well. If we want that really high level of service where we are able to respond to every request within like 1 working day, that can come with a cost. So we either adjust our resources to be able to deliver that more, to that target, or we reflect that actually we're happy with the level of resources we have in place. But the target needs to be adjusted, the level of service needs to be adjusted to reflect that.
Is that a realistic expectation? 1 day?
In the past, over the years that I've been around this table, I've always questioned the targets that have been set, and to be real, I feel a lot of them are unrealistic in our day and age, and especially that one when we've got limited staff and limited people in that resource to actually do that. And as Kelly said, if we have somebody away sick, it puts pressure on everybody else to achieve these targets. And the answers that I've had back in the past are, well, if we didn't have these high targets, we wouldn't have anything to strive for, basically. I understand that, but I think we're probably putting extra pressure on our staff that's probably a little bit undue.
Setting ourselves up to fail.
Yeah.
For mine. Yeah. So where's that process reconsidered?
And our long-term plan.
Yes.
Plan. So can we make a note around that?
Yes, we can.
So we have a rethink about some of the targets and whether the expectations and the level of service is still considered appropriate. Yeah. Okay. Moving down. Any others? Yes, Councillor Cretton.
Kelly, just on page 81, the median time to resolve non-urgent call-outs. Do any of those, probably difficult unless you put in another measure or a description or something, do any of those non-urgent call-outs actually turn into urgent call-outs because they've been left for a long period of time?
So the definition of an urgent call out is a complete lack of water. So I don't know what the potential is for a leak to turn, or something non-urgent to turn into a complete lack of water. Yeah, Johannes, I don't know if you.
Yeah, it's to answer the question, unlikely that an unurgent would become urgent because we didn't treat it urgently. If the fault changes, say for instance a water leak turns into a burst main, then it would change.
Because on the face of it, they're better at the non-urgent ones. We tend to think faster. Seems odd.
Urgent ones tends to be bigger, require more equipment, more people, and often traffic management.
Councillor Della.
I see the maintenance of reticulation network and the real water loss from network and reticulation system is trending down still, which is really cool, and it's testament to the work on our renewals program that we're certainly getting on top of it. We're down to 16.2% now, and I noted that Wellington a little while ago were up over the 50%. So we're doing a great job there, and that has trended down from about 40-something% since I've been on council. So that's really good.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Point out safe roads on footpaths. Page 75. No fatal crashes or serious injury crashes reported on the data, which is an improvement last year. Council had a lot to do with that. Drivers' behaviour.
And we did change the speed on Moreton Road where there was, I think it was a fatal on the corner of Moreton. And
that's right. Corner. Yeah. Any others? There's a few other not achieved in there. I'm not sure if the council is looking for answers on those or explanations. Councillor, wastewater, stormwater. Nothing. All right. Go to the recommended resolutions. I'll move to receive the report. Councillor Ayling, seconded by Councillor Critney. All in favour? Aye. Against? Motion's carried. Item 6 points. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Item 6.7.6. Please report.
Thank you, Your Worship. So I'd like to just add to my report that I will take as read is that the Carterton Event Centre has just been named as a finalist for the small venue of the year at the Evans Awards. So that's it was just happened the last week, and we're very excited for that.
Who are we up against?
No, nobody even.
Significant?
If you give me a moment, I'm sure.
All good.
So you're happy to take the report as read and answer questions? Well, let's just answer that question. We are up against sound and free supply. Rising star, large venue, medium venue, small venue, Toy and Hawke's Bay, and Q Theatre. I'm not quite sure where Q is.
South Wide Dog Pound.
Yeah, Toy is Hastings, I believe, and I don't know if anybody's been to Hastings recently. But
So I was there a few months ago. Pretty crap. Compared to that.
I know.
It wasn't as good as our event.
The technical assessment from Councillor Cherry Campbell there. Hang on. Happy to take questions.
I just had a quick question on the Christmas parade. Rotary asking for support from council to assist with the highway closure. What does that entail? Is it just us waiving its fee or putting cones out?
What's the every year?
So
Yeah.
it's quite a significant. It's not our. So it's Wakakotahi's state highway. So we have to put in traffic management diversion. We have to have a plan that is approved by Wakakotahi as part of it, and that does have costs associated with it. But we close the road for a few events every year: Anzac Day, the Christmas Day Parade, Daffodil Day. And I think that's it. So we are against that. We try and manage on behalf of our community.
If
Alice, on page 98, the photograph of the new footpath, I was asked recently by a ratepayer, why do we leave a little wee piece of lawn that then somebody has to mow between the footpath and the road? I said, there's services under there. Was I right or was I wrong?
It's wrong.
Then why do we leave a little bit of grass?
So if you look at most of the concrete footpaths, there is a strip, a berm across the network. Obviously, it might look insignificant, but adding a 25% to the width of the footpath significantly shortens the length that we can actually do under our budget. So if we wanted to across the board widen all our footpaths, we could do that, but it would come at a significant cost.
Okay, so it's cost driven.
So not just cost driven, but it's also the feel and the look of the town. It might be a hassle to mow it, but it looks pretty. It really creates a place.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Thank you.
If I go down some cables on there, so you don't have to mow it.
We could put on, I think there could be cables in there. It's not impossible, but that's not great.
So can't apologise for that.
Thanks for your help there, Johannes.
Because everyone's going to plant daffodils there, aren't they? Yeah.
Wildflowers.
While we're on the
Yeah.
concrete footpath renewals down there, I've had some really good positive comments back from people that are basically walking and pushing prams and scooters, and they reckon it's a real racetrack for the scooters now. So we just got to watch people backing out of driveways now.
We don't, they do.
They do.
Pluses and minuses.
Do everything for everyone.
The other questions, pop it in there.
Very good report.
Yeah.
Good.
Good to know what's going on.
Anything I've asked, Jeff is, sailing.
Oh, sorry, no, mine wasn't a question. It was just a comment. I thought the climate change workshop that our advisor ran last week, a week before, was brilliant.
Skies.
She was awesome. I think she really explained things so well, and she has a natural teaching presence. So I think kudos on her in that role, because I think she did a brilliant job, and I think it really helped us with the decisions we'll have to make going forward.
Thank you. We'll pass that on.
Yeah. All enjoyed that. No other questions? Quite a bit in there. I've only got one. When can we have another visit? All down around the water, wastewater and management. The water plant, to have a look at some of this new gear that's all been installed and have a talk how things.
I think it's a good idea. We're planning on having the main tanks project completed late November, early December. So that might be a real opportunity to get down there and see what's gone on down at Belfield Road.
And is there any prospect that we might be able to have ourselves nominated on some of our big projects, or there's Wizzy awards that are floating around
Pick
out
up
there?
that as an action to look at relations.
Because it's quite, I mean, putting aside all the trials and tribulations and the matters that you've, management have cleaned up, quite impressive setup right now.
All right, I'll pick that up.
I
would
would
do that.
challenge, and I have challenged other mayors and other councils to match ours.
I'm
Wellington.
happy to blow our trumpet in our own papers, but I will look to see if we can blow it a little bit louder.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a dog pound we have to beat.
Yes. Yeah, there was a dog
Yeah,
pound that South
they-
Wairarapa
yeah.
won the
Yeah,
LTNZ awards, so
They beat us there.
we'd have to stay a member of LTNZ though.
Oh, those other awards, civic and civil contractors do awards. Yeah. Consideration recommendation. There be no further questions from council? Someone like to move, please? We received the report. Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Della, all in favour?
Right.
Against, motion's carried. 7.7. Lagoimas.
Hello again.
Hello again.
standard report from legal awareness. There has been a little bit of an uptick in requests the last couple of months, but we are managing these coming from various sources. Happy to take questions.
Taking the.
Councillor Ayling has a question.
I wasn't looking up, sorry.
All right. Where there's no organisation list, is it because it's an individual?
Exactly, yes, yeah. So we wouldn't
Prudential.
individuals, no.
Okay.
That's right.
That was the question I was going to ask. I wasn't sure if it was Watton and Kearney Law asking all of those questions, followed by Forest and Bird.
I thought you might have got sick of writing taxpayer union on them or something.
We'll definitely write.
I think if it was an organisation such as Taxpayer Union, we would state it. It's only a private individual.
Thank you.
Interesting that News Hub have been looking at us from.
Gordon would be so happy about how much we talk about them.
So would, yeah.
Any other questions on the Lagoinas?
I presume the ones that are highlighted haven't been dealt with yet.
Several of them have
Now.
now since between us finishing the report and council meeting.
Distinct difference in October's figures? 23 to 21, 2020. But September's high and that's all those private individual cameras at that.
Yeah.
October will increase because we're only partway through it when we write.
Oh, we are
the report.
too. Yeah, good point. 24th.
Would it serve any purpose or of any interest to have another column down the side of how many hours each one has absorbed to complete and respond to?
We could, that's additional work for someone to collect that information.
You have to cut the hours in
It's a
too.
bit of a trade-off, I guess.
How much was invoiced?
Yeah.
Generally, I would say the ones we're receiving have been pretty straightforward and not taking a huge amount of time. Where we do think that they're going to take a long time, we will either ask if they would like to change their scope or charge a fee.
Some of them come and give me everything you've got on this subject dating back the last 10 years. It's like far out. When do you start and stop with that? But anyway.
Okay. Someone move, we receive the report, please. Brittany, seconded by, don't be shy now. Councillor Lawrence, all in favour?
Aye.
Against? Motion is carried, 7.8. 7.8. Minutes of the working group considering combined Wairarapa Council. Jeff?
So what I thought I'd do with this particular paper was just table the minutes of the working group so that they are a public record, and also highlight the feedback that the Local Government Commission gave us, which was the first step on any kind of merger conversation is that the patisserie councils actually agree on a resolution on what you're trying to do. And the second step is appoint some people to do some stuff. And the third step is follow that up with commitment with some funding. It's this paper.
We've since received a timeline, didn't we, of, certain milestones to meet.
That's right. And if we follow a council-led process, which is what we are suggesting here, the likelihood is it's more chance of achieving that within a shorter time frame than if we allow the Local Government Commission to do it. Their feedback was they would have to then establish relationships with all the key stakeholders across the district in order to ensure appropriate engagement. Whereas if the councils do that, you already have relationships with the likes of Federated Farmers or local iwi or stakeholders. So you're highly likely to be able to do that faster than they can.
That was the point that LGC made, was that it's impossible, particularly if you've got a relatively tight time frame, it's possible to do this in-house over multiple councils. It has to have an independent chair directing the type of work needed to refresh the previous documents and put something together that's got some, and working in with LGC. So because we're driving this process, for all the right reasons, we have to step up and put money in the tin or on the table to encourage the others to, put some skin in the game. Whether they will or not, I hope they do.
One very small point, the Masterton District Council's name is Bowyer, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, apologies.
Oh, yeah. BOW.
Mr. Potter. Councillor Cretney.
Thanks, His Worship. Just the budget that you mentioned, Jeff, was the discussions around that this is going to be of equal benefit to all three councils, so it wasn't made up like it normally is when we do a.
The Local Government Commission suggested a number twice that size, times 3, as a starting point. So I halved it. Just to see if there's.
So we didn't scare the other two away.
Yeah.
But understand that if this gets off the ground and goes at the pace we expect, this won't be the last request for unbudgeted funding.
And we could deal with that, whether we split it based on population or ratepayers or. So you're absolutely right. There is a shared service model on splitting cost. I thought let's just get the first commitment over the line. If we can't do that, we're wasting our time on anything else.
The air that was sucking through teeth when the suggestion was put that it would probably cost around $450,000 to get through that. This was a good place to start, given this is year one of a 2-year project potentially. Yeah, Councillor Ayling.
My question was just, is there anything that we as councillors can do to help assist this process running smoothly, or do we need to just stay out while the negotiations are happening and let the big wigs do their talking?
I would argue the more you can talk to people outside of work, both within Carterton as necessary, but outside of here, if you have any relationships with councillors north or south, then those conversations, if you're writing articles or expressing being asked for an opinion, be clear. Just say what your opinion is. I know that I can tell you there is very strong interest in where this is going and the pace at which it should be moving, being expressed to me by the Masterton business community. Now, I'm not talking about Biz Wairarapa. They are being very clear and very strong, but there is a groundswell of concern amongst senior business leaders in the Masterton area, some of whom apparently supported people's campaigns for election in 2022, who are becoming increasingly frustrated at the pace at which the conversation is not moving at. And so I just think you feel free to express your views. One thing about this council is I think it's been realistic and honest about the future. Councillor,
We understood from this morning, there's no practical chance that South Wairarapa are going to sign off 50K, is there?
what anyone wish to add into that, Dale? Deputy Mayor?
It's impossible to say until it's put in an order paper and discussed as we're doing. I couldn't speculate.
I think that one of the things we have acknowledged, and this is from the discussions we've had with Masterton and the meeting we had with LGC, is that working to a proposal is one step. Getting a formal, each council must put a resolution at council and have that resolution passed to enable any merger to go ahead. That's the decision point. That's the final gate. What we're working to do here, what we're trying to do here is put together a proposal that we can all agree on and identify where the worms and hooks are and offset and mitigate accordingly with the structure and form to match the function. And that will include conversation around wards, boards, representation but we've got to do that work first. The intent from where we sit is that we get that work done. We then take the proposal to each council, each mayor, each team takes it back to their council, put it on the table, discuss it, debate it, resolve to accept or not. And then if we get all three councils agreeing, then it goes up to LGC, and LGC has said, that's the easiest and the fastest way to do it. And if we do it that way, we can hit 2025. It is doable in their eyes. And for them, it would just be a stamp because we have total consensus. The difficulty would be if one or more councils, having done all the work and agreed to the best proposal, then can't get it across their table. Then there's a different course of action that can still be taken, but it's a bit longer.
Yeah, I was just thinking that if we pass or accept this recommendation, that precludes us doing anything just with Masterton, doesn't it?
Correct. Yes, as it's written,
Yeah.
It would preclude a two-council approach. You are correct. So perhaps you may wish to amend the resolution, a proposed resolution.
Resolves and investigate formation of those, should they wish to.
Make it and or.
You could make it and or, which would solve that problem.
Yeah.
So that would be a number 2, it would be Masterton District Council and South Wairarapa. And also in 5 would have to be an and or.
Okay. Well spotted, sir.
Or any other council.
Should the commitment change to funding commitment is made by Masterton District Council and or South Wairarapa District Council, not commitment?
Yeah. It is made. Okay, so changing ARDA is your suggestion? Yep. Okay, Councillor Lane.
My question was just next Wednesday, we have the combined council forum, and I've just taken a look at the agenda. And I see a merger update is set for 9:50 to conclude at 10 a.m. Is there any benefit of us having a longer discussion at that point with the other councils there? Or is it intentionally just to say, this is what we're doing, let's move on?
Yeah, I mean, the real discussion and negotiation has to happen at the working group with the people, and there's so much to work through. It's really just pretty much updating as we're doing right now, just so that all of the elected members hear the same message. Yeah, because it's very early days yet.
Should the Masterton mayor or someone from Masterton stand alongside you guys as well, just to
That'd be nice.
show some, I'm not wanting to, okay. I just thought it might make it more unanimous sort of feel.
It would be nice. We are hosting.
Okay.
Yeah. The one on Marnborough was, yeah. Carterton District Council's very keen, but no.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we can only but try.
Yep.
To give it our best shot. Okay. So moving to the recommendations, someone move it, receive the report, please. Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Cretney, all in favour?
Aye.
Yes, motion's carried. We resolve to investigate the formation of a combined Wairarapa Council and the partnership with Masterton District Council and or South Wairarapa District Council. Someone to move, please. Councillor Gallen, second to Councillor Cretney, all in favour?
Aye.
Against? Motion's carried. Recommendation 3 appoints the mayor, the deputy mayor, and the nominee is Councillor Robin Cherry Campbell and the CEO to the joint working group. All in favour? Oh, sorry. Moved by Councillor Cretney, seconded by Councillor Della. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Notes the joint working group will appoint an independent chair to lead the investigation. Just note that.
Yeah.
Approves the unbudgeted operational expenditure. And changes to that wording is changing the word is for the word are in line 2 and adding or after the word and Someone to move, please. Deputy Mayor, seconded. Councillor Lawrence, all in favour? Against? Motion's carried. That was pretty easy. Thank you. Record of the meeting with Local Government Commission is there for people to read. Item 8, exclusion of public. There is no items. Moving, before we go to Karakia, if I'd have someone to wonder whether they would like to deliver that for us. Look, I just want to say that I know that today was a challenging day in some respects. And I want to thank you for your decorum and the way in which you conducted the meeting. I'm proud to chair this council, and I'm proud that we have the management team that we have. I accept that decisions don't, there's a lot of work and a lot of effort on them. I want to acknowledge the team for that work. I would say, you know, for those who are who believe in Māori Woods, don't despair. There is a conversation that has to be dealt with on the bigger level of a combined council. I'm holding out that STV will be part of that conversation. And I know that there are those who are also holding out and saying, well, if Māori Woods are going to be there, we want rural woods as well returned, which will mean you have urban as well. But there are challenges ahead. It's often how you manage those challenges. It's not what happens to you, it's how you respond going forward. It's a good team. And, you know, don't lose sight of that. Debate is good. Being true to your opinions and your views is what's paramount. And moving forward as a united team is essential if we're to achieve our goal, our bigger goals and our wider goals. And I want to thank you all for that. Karakia, please, Deputy.
Kia tau, kia tātou katoa, te ata whai o te tātou, ariki a ihu karaiti. Me te araha o te atua, me te whiwhi nā tahitanga, ki te wairua tapu, aki, amen.
Amen.